Hello you and welcome to some Kinda Fox content, or should I say kinda spooky content, because we are still running the Spooktober program here on the channel. Now, it may be Spooktober, but overall it's still the year of the rabbit, and I know we are already playing Before the Night on the channel, which has some rabbits in it, but that's not enough rabbits for Spooktober, so I found this game called Tiny Bunny, which is a short visual novel in the horror genre. So without further ado, hello you and welcome to Tiny Bunny. The wind clawed at my window all night long. I wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song weaved from all sorts of voices, shrill, gentle, sneery, twinned in the air. They were shouting and laughing and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot in its days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back in with its hollow eyes, rustling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. I was already 12 after all. Still. Oh, it looks like there's a little fox there. Did you see it? Episode 1, The Owl Will Arrive. Oh!
Убери книгу немедленно.
I am unfamiliar with that language. If anyone knows what language that is, let me know down in the comment. I love to learn. Hey! Put away your book! What are you, a nerd?
Сколько раз говорила, не читай за столом, вредно.
How many
Сидишь, сутулился весь.
times have I told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. Okay, hide the book. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan the Barbarian aside. I was stuck on a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyways. Olya had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. Oh, that sounds lovely. She was so enthusiastic she almost looked like your typical girl from commercials.
Пока не съешь, из-за стола не встанешь.
You're not going anywhere until you've finished all of it. Didn't put it on a plate for you to waste it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of the previous sleepless night, the black forest around our house, and the gloomy wind. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by her eating cookies. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from the Castor Odyssey. I love that show. Huh. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is. Oh, it's terrifying. Oh, gives me shivers. Will you shut up, phone? Or how cold the black forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. Mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes.
Что я говорила?
What did I just say?
Я достану.
I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this carved on the other side of the table? Karina. Ha! That's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal, damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar, though. Should I remind her about it? No, she's been in a bit of bad mood lately. I imagine... Why did I play a horror game when I can't read? I imagined her being my age, sitting under this table. I wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? Or the sounds coming from the attic? Or the thick forest? I imagined my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed, where Olya sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice. Taiga is a special place, little girl. It's watching you closely, sniffing you out, trying to discern what kind of beast you are. If you're a good sort, it won't abandon you in the times of trouble. But if you're a bad apple, it'll... I'm trying not to read while she talks, so it becomes all blurred. But if you're a bad apple, it'll grab you by the side and drag you under the ground. And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Ooh, that's not good. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. Ew. Also not good. She had already bought a casket, and she called it her cute funeral box. It waited for its time in the closet, patiently. It was black, upholstered with meat-colored material on the inside. I saw it when my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive, only all of the photos were gone. Glass-covered pictures with grave faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olya was done with her cookies and was looking at my share like a shy woodland critter. Yeah, that's the stare of a sly woodland critter. I turned my gaze toward the frosted window. There were a lot of dark pines outside, but they didn't grab my attention. The patterns of frost formed a picture on the glass.
Оля, гляди,
Look,
лиса.
it looks like a little fox. Do you see it? Olya, look, it's a fox. Oh, my reflection.
Где?
Where? It looked almost like those optical illusions thingy they put on the back of students' notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle.
Да не на улице, на стекле.
Not outside, dumbass, on the window.
Смотри, вот нос, вот.
Look, here's the nose and here's...
Ну-ка, доедай.
Hey! Eat up, I ain't paying you to talk. Wait, am I paying you? Why did that come to my mind?
Да, сейчас.
Ah, yes, just a moment.
Я ничего не вижу.
I don't see anything.
Живо.
Hurry
Совсем
up!
немного осталось.
There's not much left.
А, вот. Но все равно не похоже.
Ah, there it is! But it still doesn't look like one.
А
What are
я
you
говорю,
talking about? It looks
похоже.
like perfectly a fox. And I'm telling you it does. Oh, that was me.
Не-а. Похоже.
It does.
Прекратите. Ну что за дети?
Stop it! Ah, these kids, I swear. Ah, now I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. He said he had some YouTube things to take care of. I didn't understand. Only the frosty patterns, similar to stretched out nettle leaves, kept creeping up the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long, measured steps. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. Mom would always ask jokingly, "Come on, shave it off, it stings." This was long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olya always covers her ears whenever she hears something like, "What's the point of all this?" through the wall. "It's all for your sake," Dad would reply. "For the sake of our family." I always caught every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. Whatever that is. Devo? Divorce. I don't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken into two different families.
Да что твоя лиса?
Anyway, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window.
Опять ты со своей совой.
You and your owl again.
Так ты же вчера мне
You
верил.
said you believed me just yesterday.
Никто ключи от машины не видел?
Has anybody seen my car keys?
Вроде
I
оставлял на
remember
подоконнике.
leaving them on the windowsill.
Вроде.
Ha, right.
Вроде оставлял.
Maybe you
вроде
did and maybe not.
Вроде взрослый мужчина, отец двоих детей.
You're a
вроде-
grown man, a father of two, and still you can't locate the gosh darn car keys. What are you?
Перестань, пожалуйста, Карина.
Karina, please stop.
Дай мне спокойно собраться.
Just let me get ready in peace.
В корзине твои ключи. Возле
Your
телефона.
keys are in the basket near the phone.
Огромное тебе человеческое спасибо.
Well, thank you very much.
Антон, ешь быстрее, а то как мученик сидишь.
Anton, stop making a martyr out of yourself and finish eating already.
А сова?
Ha, but the owl!
Не было там
There
никакой
was
совы.
no owl.
Была.
But there was one. If you don't shut up, I will. Owl. I don't know where I was going with that.
Глазюки огромные.
It had giant glowing eyes. Olya sprang up from the chair and placed her hands on her little face. No, she didn't. Imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers the size of an apple each.
В прошлом году Бабай в шкафу.
Last
Сейчас
year you
сова.
had Babai in your closet. I don't know what that is. Let me know down in the comments. And now this owl.
Но я же видела.
But I saw it! Olya shifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mom to me, but couldn't find any support.
А ты не думала подружиться с ней, нет?
Have you thought about befriending it?
Вымышленными
You know, like
мышами
feeding it with
покормить, например.
imaginary mice?
Не подначивай ребенка.
Don't bully our girl!
Просто малая.
She's
еще.
just afraid to
И спать
sleep
одна
alone
боится.
because she's still little. Olya pouted her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Mom gave Dad a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes. It's so uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just snorted in reply and left, ringing with the keys he just found. A minute had passed and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. Dad was enjoying it. It was stored on incredibly worn-out cassette tape, which Dad already had to glue together once. It's so easy to fix objects, by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Yeah, it's gonna take gaffer tape for that. Mom moved to the living room, and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances at the window. Olya had trouble sleeping ever since we moved into this house. She would toss and turn or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take her mind off all the trouble we had with the move and our parents. Okay. And that. And then Olya said she saw a giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Olya refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After last night, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? That night, I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect from my new school. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of a new term. My imagination drew long, twisting hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. But all the students behind their desks were simply dark figures cut out using a template. I photoshopped in my mind. I'm a weird kid, don't ask. Circular holes. What was that? Gaped in the middle of their faces, and pairs of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creatures were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouette. Their cruel glares, filled with icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? I don't know. Won't they gang up on me and beat me down, stomp on me with their bloodied shoes? The damn school can burn for all I care. I haven't even started yet, and I'm thinking of burning it down. I just wished for anything to happen to it. Doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who are just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me worse than the previous one. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some sort of monster. My gaze slid across the drawing hanging on the walls. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olya begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. The small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You got the wrong number." Or, "Anton is not around. Anton is not around." I imagined my future classmates lying in their beds just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with the neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, though I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easy going during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet cobwebs, and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. Something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my deceased family with their ashen eyes were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning, the attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was in fact hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed with the sound of the wind, of the creaking old house, and my thoughts, too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that this music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone is playing it there amidst the cold, snowy night. Right? Do we dare? Do we dare open? Yes, we dare. Wasn't it night outside? That's a lot of light. Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out, with the dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in moonlight, bumped into the piles of snow, rolled around and crawled on all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around, holding hands and wiping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment, and then coming back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, the music had stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place and, I could swear, pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. Oh boy. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch-black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like the bird inside a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back towards the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room and listened to some unwanted guest move and scrape around looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right, then circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped into the bed and covered myself with a blanket as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remembered the funeral, my grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll. Ants running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbing up her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Oh boy. Then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move inside their sockets and she'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spells she taught me throughout the whole procedure. And now, lying under the blanket and listening to squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same
На
words.
острове Буяне, в синем океане, стоит домовина, в ней сало и глина, волосы седые, чертям еда, раба Божьего Антона не тронут никогда.
On the island of Buyan, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color blue stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashen hair from the spawn from devil's lair, to feast and always leave alone God's faithful servant named Anton.
Бесы забудут дорогу к дому,
Evil leave this house must,
мертвый к мертвому, швой к швому.
ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hanged man. And then the night dosed me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched at my eardrums. In reality, something or someone was scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently, as if he was looking for someone.
Мертвое к мертвому,
Ashes to ashes,
живое к живому.
dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. And then the doorknob twitched slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more, and then started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear, my wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door creaked and opened. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now you'll see. The door was wide open. The darkness writhed inside the carnivorous mouth of a doorway. It was as if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings and squeaking with rusty hinges. It was trembling, ensnared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who... Something I clicked. I'm sorry. Hang on. It was trembling, ensnared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole. To me. My abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me,
Ты спишь, Тоша?
Tosha, you asleep? My sister's pale face protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief.
Оля, я не сплю.
Olya,
Что случилось?
I'm not sleeping. Did something happen? Olya frowned and stuck out her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry.
Оно опять прилетело и...
It's there again, staring at me. Shoo her away, Tosha, please.
Я так боюсь.
I was so scared. The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olya down.
Это был сон, глупая. Не
It was
пугайся.
just a dream,
Сны не
silly.
кусаются.
Don't be
Никто тебя не
scared.
обидит.
Dreams don't bite. No one is going to harm you. Olya sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me. But was I sure of myself?
У меня есть идея.
I have an idea.
Пойдем к тебе в комнату.
Let's go to
видео
your
посмотрим.
room and watch the
Спящую
video
красавицу, например.
Sleeping Beauty, for example.
Тебе же нравится этот мультик?
You like that cartoon, don't you?
Почему у спящей красавицы принца у меня эта страшная птица?
Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have this scary bird? What's up with that? That question took me by surprise.
Ладно, давай посмотрим Золушку.
Alright, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled, fuzzy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing fervently under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It couldn't be satisfied with a feast of lard and long, ashen hair.
Тоша, ты идешь?
Tosha, you coming? What is taking you so long?
Да, сейчас.
Yes, yes, just a moment.